chew the fat. I'm happy to be back. I was gone last week. I'm sorry the death of Sam Kinnison was too much for me to bear in one 48-hour period, so I slept in mourning. Goodbye, Sam. We loved you so. But tonight, we have with us 3 Democratic candidates for Athens County Commissioner. On my left, Mr. Philip Lavelle. On my right, Brock Irwin. And to his right, Dean Kaler. Good evening, gentlemen. Welcome to Chew the Fat.
Good evening.
Good evening,
In
Mark.
the tradition of this show, we're just going to begin talking about some of the issues of the day. I have been attempting to follow the solid waste disposal district, which has gathered a lot of press in the last 3 months. Athens wants out of it. They want to have their own solid waste disposal district. Let me tell you, they've certainly taken a garbage dump a very long way from what it used to be, which was a garbage dump and a landfill. But Athens County is deeply afraid that, from the way I read it, that people will want to bring their garbage from around the state and around the country into the hills and valleys of Athens County. Now, the only way we can ensure that we can't get, that that's not going to happen, is for us to be our own district.
Well, I think you're confusing several issues here. One of the issues that we have to deal with specifically is the law, and that's 592. 592 was passed in 1988. It created a whole new way of thinking about solid waste. Primarily what it was a mandate from the state of Ohio that said that counties will have to start thinking of their dumps and their landfills as part of a whole solid waste plan, a plan that they're all going to have to draw up. And we as a county work with 5 other counties to try, actually about 9 other counties, to try to create a multi-county district. We created a multi-county district. It was a 6-county district with Gallia, Hocking, Meigs, Vinton, Jackson, and so which one am I leaving out there? Meigs County. But anyways, we created a district.
Jackson?
I said Jackson, but that's all right.
Okay. Oh, well.
They neither here nor there.
Anybody who out there who knows what county it is going.
Yeah. But primarily, we were forced with the fact that we have to totally change the way we deal with solid waste. And keeping other waste out of our district was not a mandate. Our job was to manage what we have inside of our own district. We also have to work with the entrepreneurs and the businessmen in our district who have landfills to, make sure that.
Well, hasn't that? But I understand that's become a major issue about whether or not we would accept out of district waste, or whether we would be a landfill for Columbus, for example.
Yeah, well, that's been a major issue all the way through, but it's an issue that is like a red herring. It's really not there in the case of what we're supposed to deal with. We can't exclude out-of-state waste coming into Athens County. The only way that we can do that is to, and if we were in the 6-county district, was to manage our waste internally to the best of our ability to show the state of Ohio that we are handling our waste and we are dealing with it in a responsible manner, and that there's no need for other landfills in the district so that they can bring in purely out-of-state waste. At that point in time, we could lobby. But the U.S. Supreme Court has said we have to. We can't stop out-of-state trash coming into our district.
But you can stop the opening of new landfills.
No,
you can control.
Can't even do that.
So I, as an entrepreneur, can go out and open a landfill and call New Jersey and tell them to haul it in.
You certainly can.
And there's nothing that the 6th county district or the.
The only thing we can do is lobby very hard with the state and lobby the EPA, saying we've met your goals, we've met your demands. We are taking care of our waste internally, and there's no need for another landfill to come into our district purely to take out-of-state trash.
So then the state has the ability to control landfills.
The state is the only one that has the ability to control landfills.
Well, I think the the larger issue is, Mark, is not out-of-state trash, out-of-county trash coming into Athens County or other counties, because we all recognize that you have to deal with the Interstate Commerce Commission and there's certain things you cannot do. I think the larger issue is whether or not Athens County should be in a single county solid waste district or participate in a 6-county district. And that's the one that Mr. Kaler and his counterparts and the county commissioner, other persons in Athens County, have spent a lot of time on it, and they have come to the conclusion, the decision, that Athens County would be better off to go it alone, have their own waste district.
How do people like Columbus handle it?
I assume they have the population base in Franklin County that, they
Oh, I
deal
see.
with Franklin County.
They have
The state does request a minimum population of some 160,
120,000.
120,000 persons. They consider that to be the smallest population base that economically can own and operate its own and manage its own solid waste system.
But there's about 8 counties out there that are below the 120,000 population limit. And we're currently asking for an exemption so that we can be also one of those counties under the 120,000 population limit.
But what's the benefit of being your own district?
Well, the benefit of being our own district is that we're able to take care of our solid waste in a responsible manner, one that our constituents have basically given us direction on handling. Athens County in the past 12 years has worked very diligently to deal with solid waste. We worked hard at creating recycling. We worked hard in the city of Athens also creating recycling routes, and one of the first curbside
Okay.
recycling.
Well, I guess I don't really, if we can still go ahead and do all
The
that.
biggest advantage
If we're
is
part
it's less cost.
If we're part of the 6-county district, are you suggesting that because they're not recycling, they may dump things in Athens County? Is that what?
No. I think, first of all, you have to look at it as not as dumping here or dumping there. You have to
Right.
look at it as a plan of how we're dealing with our solid waste, which includes many different facets. The first biggest facet is we have to recycle. We also have to reduce. And we also have to reuse. And we have to use the 3 R's.
But I guess I don't understand what are you suggesting that whatever they were planning to do was contrary to what the citizens of Athens were already doing, or were they complying with the law?
Yes, they were complying with the law, and I think part of it is a management style, and also a practical style. Practical in the sense that we in Athens County feel that we need to follow through with our goals and our plans. We felt that we didn't need to have a director of a 6-county district telling us how to run our recycling center that we've already established here in Athens County. We felt that management from on high, central management system, wasn't giving each of the counties local control to deal with their solid waste. It also wasn't giving each of the local communities the ability to participate and make a financial and a philosophical commitment to handle their solid waste.
Where was the money coming from?
The money was coming through tip fees that the multi-county district was putting together to handle this. If you looked at their plan, you can see in the second year that they were going to be close to $500,000 in debt. To me, that tells me one thing: how are they going to support and how are they going to fund those programs that they had in their plan? Well, they weren't. How can you support something if you have no plan, no money to support it and to run those programs?
But doesn't the state approve these plans?
Yes, the state would have to approve these plans.
The problem I have with Athens County pulling out of the multi-county district, from the literature I received from Lance Wilson, who's the head of the multi-county district, our county commissioner was very instrumental in setting this multi-county district up. And they had several issues they wanted addressed. And from the literature I received, they addressed like 11 out of 12 of the issues. And all of a sudden our commissioners couldn't, from what I seen, couldn't run it, and they quit going to the meetings. And I'm afraid to put all of our eggs in one basket by counting on one landfill in this county. If this landfill...
Commissioner Kaler was suggesting that if we needed to go someplace else, we could. It doesn't restrict us to that.
Then are we treated just like out of district treasurer?
It's a different.
Oh, yes.
Also, so the district, crossing district lines does influence rates.
Correct.
Sure.
Ah, okay. So there is some value, there is some economics, there is some control about who can dump in your area through your rates. You ought to charge more.
I can understand perhaps the commissioners and other persons in Athens County desiring to go it alone. I realize that they're...
Oh, excuse me, Mr. Lavelle. To the fact.
Yeah.
Hello, you're on the air. Hello? Hello, I'm sorry. Whoever that was, if you called back, we'll try to get you on again. Please do call, join us
Maybe they had too much of a mouthful.
in the conversation. The number's 592-3560. I'm sorry, you were
That's all right,
saying.
till he calls back. I can understand perhaps why they felt that they could control it better. It's a neater package, one county. We are the largest county in that district, in that 6-county district. We are obviously much further ahead in recycling programs, education programs. And we do have a landfill that's operational today. Unlike Brock, Mr. Irwin, I have some concerns about us being hostage to one landfill. But I also understand that the Kilbar has a request now before the Environmental Protection Agency to increase the size of that. The big issue on everybody's mind is highways. We do an awful lot of talking about better highways, more highways in southeastern Ohio. This is not going to happen if each of these counties stand isolated by themselves. So that's one angle of this thing that kind of bothers me philosophically.
The highways, I mean,
Not to confuse highways with solid waste. I'm just using that as an example.
the highway issues, I mean, you know, brings good and bad. I mean, what you're going to do, oh, excuse me, hello?
Yeah, what are you going to do to try to get Mayor Sarah Hendricker out of office?
Well, it's the wrong branch of government. These are the county commissioners.
There's nothing you can do about it? I mean, I really don't think she's doing too good of a job. Just can't get a good challenger, you know, to get her out of there.
Well, I appreciate you calling, but this is the wrong show. This is the wrong episode.
Okay, well, I'm sorry.
All right.
Public officials are never safe.
All right.
None of us live in the city, so.
My point was that improved highway infrastructure is going to bring the garbage here. I mean, we are primed for large open landfill propositions, not only from the rest of the state, but from across the country.
Correct.
So the better highway system you have is just going to bring the garbage here.
But now, Mark, don't use that argument not to suggest we need better
Well,
highways.
no, I'm not suggesting.
There's nothing to prevent any entrepreneur.
It just seems to me that we've struggled so long to put a highway system together to build an infrastructure based on manufacturing, which is no longer where the country is.
Well, I think your argument about having an infrastructure that's going to bring out-of-state waste here is, I think, clearly dealing with one of the issues that we've said all along when we've been working with the multi-county district. They want to open their arms up and welcome into the district out-of-state waste in as big a volume as possible. We've basically said that that's not our philosophy. We don't want to do that. 3 of us and the people on the planning committee and the policy committee are very much opposed to bringing in tons of out-of-state waste coming into our district. And it did not address that in their plan at all.
Who gets the tipping fee?
Who gets the tipping fee? The district gets the tipping fee.
You might explain
And
the 3 tiers too.
And then the district spends it
The district
for its own internal programs?
Exactly.
It cannot return to a general fund of...
See, I may have been misinformed. The understanding I got from Mr. Wilson that the multi-county district was going to limit to 100 miles.
Well,
That was a goal,
press,
Brock. I think that was their goal.
according to the press, they can't do that.
Can't do that.
According to the newspapers, they're unable to. You're unable to restrict because of federal constitution and
That'll be a
our
direct
relationship
violation of the
with the states.
interstate commerce law. But what they've done is they've made a sweet deal, Gallia County has, with Mason County across the river from West Virginia, across the river from Meigs and Jack Gallia counties, to haul in their trash, to go into that, to their landfill in Gallia County.
But what benefit is it other than the district getting additional tipping fees?
That's it. There's no benefit at all.
Excuse me.
The district getting tipping fees.
Good evening, Chew the Fat.
Yes, I was curious if is it true that Athens County is one of the leading areas of the country for satanic worship?
Wrong show. This is these are the Democratic candidates for Athens County Commissioner.
Oh,
Is we have a full moon tonight?
Uh,
That was last week, excuse me.
Okay, so the economic benefit, why would people want to attract this? What is are there jobs created out of it?
There are jobs created, obviously, through the landfill process, but not lots of jobs. There's a three-tiered structure in relation to fees. You have your landfill that has its own fee that it charges. I mean, that's basically, what they have to charge to do business.
And those are owned privately, I assume.
Those are owned privately,
Per
right?
ton.
Except for Gallia County, who has its own landfill, but they have a private company managing it for them. Then you have the state fees that the state charges that go into the state's coffers to the Ohio EPA. Okay, now those two situations are just purely that. Those are part of what the state and the local landfill operators have to charge. The three-tiered structure then begins with what the district has put on for charging, which will go back to the coffers of the district that particular landfill is located in. In Athens County, there is one landfill, and that is one landfill up near the county line, Kilbarger's landfill, which is the Athens Hockling Reclamation Center. He is developing a new part of that and creating a whole new section of landfill.
Sorry.
The Athens County Commissioners and the Board of Directors and the Policy Committee have basically passed a three-tiered system. The first tier is $1.25. That $1.25 goes to all trash that's generated inside the district. And then you double that fee. $2.50 is for fees that are charged outside the district, but still inside the state of Ohio. So neighboring districts would have to pay a certain fee. And then you add on another increment above that, so it's $1.25, $2.50, and $3.75, which is the fee that will be charged for out-of-state waste. But because of the lawsuit that was brought against the state of Ohio in its three-tiered system, that third fee has to go into escrow until...
To the vet, good evening.
Yeah, I was wondering, it's a major problem in the U.S. and especially Athens County with poverty. What are some possibilities, do you think, to help improve the situation here in the county?
And jobs is the answer to poverty.
Jobs?
Yeah.
What also about, the possibility of, marijuana, the cannabis plant, is the number one cash crop in the United States today, and if it ever became legalized, do you think that would ever help if it ever came to be legalized in the United States?
Sort of a rebirth of agribusiness.
Yes, sir.
Well, don't you think if it became legal, though, that Kansas would be wall-to-wall pot and the combines would be operating and that would put our agriculture in the same basket it is now in corn competition, wouldn't it?
Sure, but with Macon County already going the way it is, Athens right next door, that we should, it would help clear up some of the problems, I believe.
Well, I just think that if it became legal, it would be mass-produced in such a way that in the American agricultural tradition, it would be, there's not enough flat land to produce the type of agribusiness that exists today.
Well, how about, what type of jobs do you think that we could possibly, that Athens could, what kind of types of jobs are available, in the future? Is there anything going to be available for these people?
Well, I think the whole economy is changing. We're going from an industrial-based, product-oriented economy to a service-oriented, service-providing economy. If you read all the national trends, and Mr. Lavelle obviously knows this through his involvement with the Economic Development Agency, that there's very few of the smokestack industry jobs being created today. So we have to do what we can to try to attract as many of the large employers to the county, but we also have to try to exploit and to improve the economic climate for our county so that when businesses are interested in moving in here, when we attract businesses here, that they have a place to light, and they have the services needed and the infrastructure needed to run their businesses.
Well, the infrastructure that we're trying to build is 1950s thinking. We're going back to the old, we have to have a road that leads to a flat piece of concrete that has the plumbing and the electricity for a manufacturing plant.
I think you have to go back 2 more decades. WPA came through this country And all Athens County got out of it were a few little bridges here and there. We didn't get sewer systems in all of our villages like they did up in more populated areas of the state of Ohio. So, we're just trying to catch up with WPA things in some areas of the county and getting sewer systems in our region.
What about, you talked about bringing companies in to find jobs, and I'm a student here at OU, and Athens, the city of Athens doesn't allow, I guess from what I've heard, the city of Athens doesn't allow outside businesses to come in and purchase a storefront or rent store space unless they're a resident here.
Oh, no, that's not true. I transferred my company here.
I think
No,
the climate.
I wasn't a resident.
Excuse me, but I think the climate in Athens County has to change to where we accept new businesses. I think in the past, there has been some negative out of the offices here in Athens. I won't name any specific office, but I think this is something we have to do. We have to get ready to meet these people and show them what we have when an opportunity comes, which doesn't come very often. But when it does, I think Athens County has to be ready to offer these people some place to build their factory or build their machine shop or whatever it is. And we have some places in Athens County that this can be done.
All right, well, thanks a lot.
All right, thank you for calling.
Question, which one of you can drink the most beer?
Well, it depends on the weather.
It's according to who's paying for it.
All right, thanks a lot.
I'm allergic to beer. I can't drink it.
You're allergic to it?
Yes.
Oh, my.
Well, on that matter of jobs, it's on everybody's minds. I mentioned to a group the other night, I'm sure in all the other counties in Ohio, if you put 3 candidates for commissioners around a table like this, that would be the #1 point of discussion and conversation and interest. And it sounds great, well, I'm going to create more jobs for my county because the county says it, the state says it, and the United States says it. Everybody says we can have more jobs, and indeed we need more jobs. But this business of creating jobs is an extremely not complicated. It's a very difficult task. You have to compete with everybody else. You have to be in a position to compete with your neighbors next door. There's a big row going on now down in Cincinnati because the state of Kentucky is offering all types of concessions to get people to come across the river, set up businesses in Kentucky. So it's a dog-eat, cutthroat business. But we do have to compete. We do have to have at least a piece of real estate where you could take a potential business person, say here's so many acres, it's level, you can build on it. There's water lines here, there's sewer lines here, there's power here, there's electric here, and all that. Sometimes in this business of economic development, though, I think we lose track of where the jobs really are. We talk a lot about recruitment and attraction. And any study you take will show that 80% of the new jobs created in any economy, or most economies, simply come from small businesses locating and expanding in that community. And that's one thing that Athens is doing now through the Small Business Center at Ohio University. And I think they do a good job with the funds they have to deal with. But that's a very, very important matter. You have to be able to deal with the people locally and maybe add 10 jobs here and 15 there and 20 there, but that adds up. The chances of Athens getting another 300 or 400 employee industries such as TS Trim, it's difficult. It's difficult. Every other county in Ohio is trying to do the same thing.
I think Mr. Kalo's point is well taken. Any coffee back there? Hello, to the fat.
I was wondering what you all could do maybe to help improve the Ohio University football program.
Move to Miami.
Buy tickets.
Well, Miami isn't that good either.
Yeah, but they better know you.
Yeah, but what about OU? Big
I think WWB Sports Line's on Friday night. Getting on somebody's agenda tonight.
At least we're being watched.
Somebody's out there.
Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
An aggressive marketing effort is, however, talking about what you're talking about in terms of the way to bring jobs in or the type of jobs to go after. Mm-hmm. In fact, even looking up those statistics and finding those studies, there is no coordinated public agency doing a targeted marketing effort towards any type of specific industry group at all. I mean, regardless of the ability to go out and win anything and to compete at all is going to be that ability to go out and find out who's willing to move and what the hell they want and what we have to do to meet the needs. And nobody's doing it. The city's not doing it. The county's not doing it.
Paul
And-
Harvey had a piece on TV or on the radio about a month ago at the end of his news program. And he was talking about some of the companies that's moved to Japan and to Mexico. And some of the smaller companies are finding out it's not working out for them. And they're bringing some of their manufacturing back to the United States. And I think this is always a possibility, but I think Athens County has to have something, just like Mr. Lavelle said a minute ago. We have to have something to show them, something positive. We have way in.
The environmental laws in the United States, in my opinion, is one of the primary reasons people are leaving to begin with. It is not only labor is cheaper in Mexico, it is just easier to operate. You can do open creek dumping in Mexico.
That doesn't make it right, though.
No.
Well, okay, I mean,
I don't think
I don't think it does make it right either, personally. Excuse me.
You're right.
Why, Chief Pat?
I wonder if Dean and the candidates would comment about parking in the city of Athens as it relates to doing business in county offices.
The fact.
Yeah, well, I mean, is that a problem? Is anybody working to come up with some sort of solution to that?
There's been several committees that have worked with the solution. I think there probably won't be a solution until you have 100% participation and commitment from Ohio University. The city also obviously has a parking garage. The county has purchased some land that came with part of the building. We're going to add a few more parking spots when the Klein building and the courthouse remodeling are completed.
Why don't you just move?
Well, we can't move. We have to keep services in the city of Athens somewhere. We've made a commitment to try to keep downtown Athens alive and keep the ability to support a downtown area, so we've kept county services uptown in the courthouse and in the Klein building next to it. But when I go to other university towns where I've been and I find out what they've done, places like Miami University have places for students to park. Places like Kent State University have places for people to park. If you're a student there and you're going to college and you're commuting in and out, you have to park at a specific area. You can't go downtown and park somewhere. You've got to park at a certain parking lot and you've got to ride the bus in. Or you park at a parking area and walk into where your classes are. Ohio University has not done that. They've not built parking lots in remote locations for the many students who commute here from the many towns and villages around us.
What do you do about it?
I have a different solution, but it's too late. We put a lot of taxpayers' money into the courthouse and the Klein building. I think the title office, clerk of court's office, treasurer's office should have been moved to an open building in one of the malls and turned the courthouse over to the 80 lawyers or 60 lawyers, whatever it is, in Athens that use it, and made it accessible to the public. And I think it would be cheaper in the long run.
Well, I personally can't believe the problem of uptown parking as a student. I know it's a problem. It's a problem when we came in here tonight to find a parking place at 6:30 in the evening. But if I'm elected county commissioner, one of the very first things I would do would look seriously at building a parking deck on Congress Street, facing some of the property owned by the county. I think and I wouldn't get involved in a long, lengthy study. I think you could take a quick look at it and make a determination whether this is something economically feasible, and if so, get on and do it.
Well, we've done several studies about that, and it basically isn't economically feasible. Parking garages and parking decks are very expensive to build. They're also expensive to maintain. You're talking about having someone there to collect money on a regular basis. Not only do you build a structure that you have to maintain and operate, but you also then have to deal with personnel issues in relation
Well,
to
there's possibilities of having vendors take over the parking space. There's a lot of possibilities you can look
Okay,
at.
so why doesn't the county contribute then to the mass transit and build a better, larger bus system? Frankly, I would take the bus if it.
I think you're a minority. I think people like the independents of having their own car.
Yeah, but when I come into work, I work downtown.
Right.
So when I come into work, I mean, I'm going to be there for 8 hours.
Every bus system Athens and Athens County has proposed and had in place for the last 20 years has struggled, Mark. The only way it exists at all is through massive subsidies that the county and city look at. There's an article about it in tonight's paper.
Well, it's also something that's not just an Athens problem, it's a problem throughout the state of Ohio. The Dakota bus system is heavily supported through taxes up in the Columbus area and other mass transit.
Well, but I think that's fine. I have nothing wrong with subsidizing. That's what I don't think you can run it as a business, and I don't think it should be run as a business. I think that it is an equitable, adequate way to spend our tax dollars, and it makes a hell of a lot more sense than building a parking garage that gets full. Because when you have growth, eventually you're going to fill that parking garage. I'd much rather see that whatever's going up there be something that is producing revenue and producing jobs for more than 6, 7 people. Frankly, I think the real estate downtown should be more valuable than that. But what I don't understand is, why is it that the planning agencies don't go ahead and take this downtown of this city and say, this is an entertainment district, this is for the entertainment of the students at Ohio University, and forget about this idea of downtown retail development. I just don't see the point of even pursuing that.
You probably won't see it as downtown retail development again, but it is downtown government development. That courthouse is going to be there for eons.
Yeah.
I'd like to go back, if I could, to address a point you made earlier, Mark, where you talked about the need for a targeted industry study, maybe for Athens or Athens County.
Even beyond the study, I'm talking about a marketing department.
Okay, I understand that, but
aggressive-
even preceding that, you need to get into some kind of an overall development strategy for Athens County, which we don't have today. We have a lot of economic development agencies working in Athens County today, but I don't see any coordinated effort, and that would be one of the very first things I would do if elected commissioners, at least try somehow or the other to get them under a better umbrella. Let me finish another 2 minutes. There is a lot of agencies. You have the Athens Chamber of Commerce, a very effective organization run by Director Huff, and they do a great job. And then you have an Institute for Local Government and Regional Development at Ohio University. They have a staff of people in economic development activities. There's a small business center at Ohio University. It makes loans for businesses, and they provide a lot of good services to anybody interested in getting into business. The Nelsonville Board of Trade, the Tri-County Community Action Agency, and then there are regional economic development agencies. But I don't know of a single coordinated strategy or what we used to call an overall economic development plan for Athens County in existence today. Now, Mayor Hendricker started that process a while back, and I was going to serve on her committee, but I'm not sure where that stands now. But if nothing else,
but appropriately, it is a job for county government, isn't it?
it is. That's
Because
why
the mayor should be worried about Athens City
right.
economic development. It should be certainly on the committee of the county board.
As I've said at many of our meetings, there are really only 3 people in the county that represent the entire county, and that's the 3 county commissioners.
I think Mr. Lavelle is exactly right, and for his, 28 plus years with the Economic Development Agency, and apparently the overall economic development plan is something that's fairly recent and is a need that's been needed for economic development. And where were you, Mr. Lavelle, during these 28 years? Why doesn't Athens County have it? Why wasn't it suggested? We stumbled upon it about 2 years ago. And we now are in the process, and if you come to some of our meetings, you would have found out that we've been planning and we've been working to put together
now, Dean,
an overall economic development plan. Let me finish. I'll let you finish.
Okay, go ahead.
And we're just about finished with that overall economic development plan. We were part of a regional, and we still are, a regional Buckeye Hills, Hocking Valley Development District, and they have an overall economic development plan. And we're working with them to create an individual one for Athens County, and we're just about finished with it. And that's something that we'll be using as a tool for economic development. We have many other tools at our disposal.
Thanks for waiting. Hello.
Yeah, I was wondering what the combined weight was on that.
I don't know.
Quite a bit, I would imagine.
Yeah, so what, relative to the topic?
He said, where were you, Mr. Lavelle, when Athens County was putting together an overall economic development plan? You know, there are 88 counties, and Dean, you know the answer to that question, and you're raising a red herring here. You know there are 88...
I don't think it is a red herring.
Yes, you know that doesn't make any
difference.
difference. There are 88 counties in Ohio. My responsibility worked all of those 88 counties. I couldn't serve on 88 county OEDPs. I happened to be domiciled in Athens County. Of course I did. And I did volunteer to serve on this OEDP committee, and on that particular night I was tied up somewhere else. And I never received a second notice. So I have no guilt feelings about that at all. I was much too busy looking at the needs of the entire state of Ohio through my position as the Ohio representative for EDA to get involved in individual county-by-county things, and you knew that when you raised that issue. And
Yes, I did know
understand.
that, but I think it's something that's pointed out that your domiciled office was here.
Right, sure, I was
In
here,
this
but-
building itself, I'm not
Absolutely,
mistaken.
right down the hall, but I
Yeah,
also
just
had
a
a
little telephone
Government
call.
continually gets stuck in the repetitive committee process of planning and proposal writing and planning and proposal writing, and nobody sits down and says, now how do you go out and sell a product? You go out and you sell a product by hiring a marketing firm. I don't care if you go to Columbus or Cleveland or Cincinnati, but you need to hire a professional marketing organization to come down and put the county in perspective for those industries that can move here with the resources that we have June 1.
You don't do that without dollars, Mark.
Well, I know, but
And where
the
those dollars going to come from?
I think it's
You
an
think it's gonna
excellent
come
way to spend
from the
taxpayers'
county
dollars.
commissioner?
In small counties, you have somebody that can help you do that. You have the Chamber of Commerces that are there. We have the Athens Area Chamber of Commerce, who has worked with the county and the cities and the villages around the county for economic development. What they've done is they've created a plan. They've created a video that we're using now to show Athens County off. To talk
But
about
where are
its
you
many
showing
things.
it, is my point.
We're showing it at trade shows. We're
How many
showing
trade shows are we in this year?
I'm not sure the number.
I know,
Talk to
that's-
Mr.
that's-
Bob Huff about it. but-
That's my whole point.
Yeah.
It is, we
But
should.
we are doing it, and we have spent dollars to create not only that video, but also a
Uh-huh.
brochure that's being distributed. When people call the State Department of Economic Development, they have brochures in Athens County.
Yeah.
We send
But
it
if
out
I,
to
but if I
companies
waited
who
in
are
my
coming in.
business, if I waited for my business for my clients to come to me, I would be out of business.
Oh, yeah. That's
You
exactly
gotta
right.
go to them. And you gotta go with the resources that you have now, and you can't look at what you could have 10 years from now, or I mean, if you're gonna expend money for land, the first thing you gotta have is somebody to buy it for. It seems to me that the money being expended on planning and on considering should be better spent, and should be done by a public agency too. Now, the Chamber of Commerce has every right to organize and do everything it wants, but that is still for the enrichment of a certain select group of private businessmen. Now, it is not inherently impossible for me to believe that people are going to act in their own best interests, especially when it comes to business. And I think
Exactly right.
I think retail marketing is great, and I think that's exactly what the Chamber is going for. I think they're going in the wrong direction. I think they ought to head towards Portsmouth and Chillicothe in their retail efforts. But in fact, I think our new congressional district is exactly what the retail potential is for us. I think Lancaster's too close and Parkersburg is too close when you go the other directions. But when you talk about actual industries, actual development and plant building in this area, for example, in the service industries, all right? There is nothing, a reason I'm stumbling here is I'm sort of crossing the line between participating in a show and because I developed a project that I presented to the city. And so but I do truly believe in what I'm saying, but I'm not trying to promote my particular project. The point of it is that if you want to go out and you want to get Citibank to come down here and put up a computer processing center, which we have all the natural resources for right now, then somebody's got to get on the phone to Citibank. And somebody's got to find out when they're going to build, what they want, and get them to fly them down here. Now, that's not what I don't see that happening, and
It's not happening.
I think the public money ought to be spent to do it.
Where do you find this public money? Athens County basically gets its money from three different sources. One is through real estate tax, two is through sales tax, and three is through local government monies that come down from the state of Ohio. We run a $6.2 million budget that's fairly tight, that's fairly concise. We don't have a lot of extras. We have a little extra money we can spend for economic development, and we do that. But economic development is just one small part of the overall job that we have. We have to provide services for people to pay their taxes. We have to provide services for the jail and for the sheriff's department. We have to provide services for the Department of Human Services, the county engineer, the county prosecutor. And we're paying for all those services. And as you know quite well, people are sick and tired of paying more taxes. And to spend tax dollars on areas where you're going fishing, I think is something that the voters of Athens County say, you can go and spend a little bit of money on it, but you can't go spend
I just
the
think-
whole farm on it.
I just think voters.
it's time we take a chance on going fishing. Myself. I think it's time that somebody puts something together, and like you said, if we have to hire a firm to get out and beat the bushes and say, this is what we've got, then I think it's time. I think we're long enough. Mr. Caleb says we have a plan and we've been working on this, but evidently it didn't work. If we have a plan, then let's put it out and see what we can get.
Yeah,
Brock, how many other communities have large businesses coming into them right now during this
not
wonderful
saying it's
economic times
easy,
that we have?
I'll tell you, I'm not saying it's easy at all, and I do know that things are tough all over the country. But at the same time, there's a lot of small business. Let's say let's use Logan for instance. Amanda Bent Bolt went in there in the last 6-7 years and just had an expansion up there. They built a new building.
Oh, we just had TS Trim come in here in the last 6-7
Right,
years, and
I
they've
know we
expanded also.
Yeah, but that really wasn't from our effort.
Yes, it was.
Well, it was more of the effort of Dick Celeste.
Well,
What do you think's gonna
he's been
happen
one of
to
our
TS
agents
Trim?
that we've been working with.
Well, I understand that, but what I'm trying to suggest was that was a deal that was struck at very high levels to get them in this state to begin with, and a piece of it landed in this county.
Well, we had to do an awful lot of work to get them here. We had to create a rural enterprise zone so that they could locate here. We had to they had to be annexed into the city of Athens.
Yeah, but what I'm trying to say is,
done to bring them in on the local
okay,
level.
I mean, I appreciate all that, and that was definitely hard work, and obviously had to be done. But getting the ice cream cone to the customer is not as hard as getting the customer to the ice cream shop, is my point.
Well, I think you just hit the nail right on the head. Deals like that are made at very high levels. Mr. Lavelle is very familiar with that sort of situation in relation to his job and former job. Those deals are made in Columbus. They're made in all state capitals throughout the country. And locally, there's very little control about getting large companies to come into your area. I mean, you have to create a good economic development climate for people to light once there is a flicker in the corner somewhere.
Well,
And we've done that.
What Mr. Lavelle said a little bit ago, I think is very important. It would be nice to land 500 jobs, but to pick up 20 jobs here and 30 jobs there in small businesses, I think it's not the complete answer, but it's a start. And I think small business is what it's all about.
The problem in small business, and I agree with what you're saying, I mean, the figures are all there, but the majority of small business are retail. And, all right,
They need not be, Mark.
well, but that's the
He
majority.
mentioned this one, I'm familiar with that one in Logan too. It's done extremely well.
Yeah, they really have.
The
I had
manufacturer for the,
for the automobile industry. I had an opportunity, for those of you who don't know, I worked at Post and Power Plant for nearly 20 years, lost my job, but at the time that Poston closed, I was also enrolled as a student at Hockey Tech. And I just happened to be up there the week before the plant closed. And we went through that plant, and that guy has really done a job up there. He has a schedule that he has to meet every day at quitting time. And I think he really runs a tight ship. And I talked to several of his employees, and I don't know about now, but at that time they were tickled to death with the situation. And I just heard where they're building on, so evidently something's being done there and it's being done right.
well, yeah, I mean, obviously there's exceptions, when you say the majority, what you're talking about is unfortunately, retail is it's the easiest of the small businesses to get into.
That's true.
Servicing of individuals is all right. Problem is, we don't have the people. Or if we're going to get the people here, then we need a regional marketing plan that attracts them here for the retail environment that exists. Now, communities have survived that way. I don't necessarily have anything against it, but it just appears to me that what this area is set up for, with the resources that we do have, is the information business, or those services and related industries that utilize human labor to do things such as filing, computer operations, and that sort of affair.
Well, I disagree with you some there. Like I've said this in other meetings, when you come down Route 33 from Logan and Lancaster, you come to that 4-lane highway, it goes into 2-lane highway, and then you go into Athens County, and it's, I hate to use the term step back in time, but I guess I'm going to. But if you look, there's several factories right along there. There's the tile, there's Logan Clay, Goodyear, Smedley, Amanda Bent Bolt, GE is in Logan.